Florida State lands a commitment, and for the 2024 class, did you think we were done with 2024? Not done yet. Alongside Michael Langston, senior recruiting analyst here for Warchant.com, my name is Tom Lang, and you can see that at the bottom of the screen. Defensive end Amaree Williams has said yes to Florida State. This is a kid who reclassified close to signing day, appeared at Florida State for an official visit, and then decided to wait. And Michael, even though he decided to wait, he said yes to Florida State.
Yeah, he did, and he's one that that was a situation that developed late into the process. Obviously, FSU was able to get him on campus multiple times last year. I think early in the spring, and then also for a game, and then immediately after reclassifying, he took an official visit, which caught my attention. Like, okay, this is looking pretty likely for FSU that he's officially visiting, and then a lot of people got real nervous because he didn't commit on that visit. But yeah, shouldn't have been because everything I was told after that was like it's locked down. It's going to be FSU. And you see a lot of different highlights of different things he does but defensive ends like where FSU wants him, but I think once he reclassified and took that official visit, the tea leaves were kind of there that hey, this is going to be FSU. He really likes FSU. His dad did play at Kentucky, and Mo Williams, a talented running back, but I think overall I think FSU was the place that just felt right at home, and he loved what FSU did with the development stage, and that's something that with all the edge guys that FSU's added from the portal, they can go at their own speed with a guy like somebody like Amaree Williams, where you can kind of see kind of a development of how they did with Patrick Payton when he got there. Kind of a similar you know tool as far as taking your time and not having to be able to rush them.
So this is interesting to me, Michael, because when I was talking to Alex Atkins on signing day, way back when, a couple months ago, and then we were doing breakdown videos with Dominic Robinson on some of the signees for Florida State. It was all about how they're bringing in a lot of athletes, like
Hmm.
dudes who can play multiple positions. They've got, good instincts for both sides of the ball. They could be a defender playing offense or vice versa. You're looking at a lot of these clips from Amaree Williams, and he fits that mold. He's 6'4". He's got a 200+ pound frame. But Michael, he's a mean wide receiver, just pancaking dudes as a blocker. In addition to his work as a defensive end, he looks comfortable in coverage. I know they're going to bulk him up, Michael, but they got
Yeah.
themselves an athlete today.
They do, and he was the number one athlete in the 2025 class. If before he reclassified, in the country, not just like kind of number one athlete, and in the state of Florida. I mean, he is number one athlete in the country. He is a phenomenal athlete that they've spent a lot of time on. So this is one they've. This wasn't like some secret, like, hey, great news. Like he just all of a sudden December he's going to FSU. I mean, they put a lot of work into this. They got a lot of visits in. They did a lot of things, and I felt like when he officially visited FSU, and I read body language, I think pretty good. I felt like this kid's coming. Whether he committed to him or not publicly, I didn't know at that time. But I felt like there was a strong indication that this kid was going to be a Seminole. And then a few days later, even Tom was asking me before the visits, like, well, he didn't commit. Who we're worried about anywhere he visits, and that's when I started hearing indications that there is nothing to worry about. This is looking very good for FSU. There were even indications that either he has already told them or it's already been done, as far as that goes. So I think there was a lot of positivities with this recruitment. The moment after he visited, I think a lot of people were critical because they do that with defensive line recruiting at times. That he didn't sign and they took a chance and it didn't pay out because he didn't commit. But sometimes good things come to those who wait, guys.
Yeah. There was something to his body language. You're right about that, Michael. We won't live in the negative past, but there was a safety who said he was coming, and you're like, I don't buy it. But
Yeah.
then this kid, as he left, there was almost like an I know something you don't know on his
Right.
face. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
now, in terms of reclassification, obviously there are a lot of players that do that every single cycle. But do you think that means that his development is a couple of years down the road, or do you think with maybe just 1 year of a red shirt, he might be able to be in the rotation as a redshirt freshman? What do you know about what Florida State projects for him in his early future at Florida State?
I'd say 1 year and then he should be ready to go. But because remember he's moving up a year. So he's almost a year in advance of where he's actually supposed to be. So I would say 1 year, get him around Storm, get that nutrition up, get that strength and conditioning up, and I think you will get the speed of the game of how things play at FSU on a college level. I think once that changes or gets an adjustment where it's a comfort level, because I saw that with Patrick too. When Patrick was very skinny coming out of high school, and so it was a little time. But I think overall, you give him a year. I think he'll be ready because he is very good off the edge as a speed rusher. So I mean, that's something that I think he's much more comfortable coming out of high school of doing that compared to Patrick when he came here. I think Patrick had to learn, more things, but I think from a body standpoint, Patrick was a little bit ahead of him because, like I said, he's essentially 2 years, behind because he's moving up a year. So I think give him a year. I think he'll be ready.
So this puts a bow, unless there's something completely unexpected.
Yeah,
But this
yeah.
puts a bow on Florida State's 2024 recruiting class. We lived signing day together, Michael. We did that show. That was fun. Sometimes it wasn't, but in the end, Florida State got a pretty good class. What would you say now that Florida State is wrapped up? They do get an edge rusher. They add to 2024. It doesn't feel like it's connected, but it is all a part of the same class. How would you assess what Florida State did this particular cycle?
I think it's been great. Obviously, we still have the May window for transfer portal that's going to connect to the rest of this class. But overall, from the high school market, I think it was a really strong class when you go through position by position. Certainly, they addressed each one. That was very important. I think this is massive for their defensive end position because they missed on a few guys. So I think it was very key to get somebody that's a top tier guy that you can develop as a freshman, get in there because you can't use everyone from the portal. So you want to have some guys that you can bring up and develop at the speed you want, and they might surprise you and go move faster and put some heavy competition for you, even those portal guys that you add. So I think it's always very important to have that really good blend of high school and portal, and I think FSU's done that. I think I've read this a top 5 portal class, and certainly I think with this edition, I think there's a good chance you can see them in the top 10 or something like that. So I think overall, I always look at, like, Tom, if you get a top 10 class or close to it in high school, you're doing really well. That's a really strong class, and I think so many fans, because they aren't connecting the rankings, which maybe someday people are listening to On Three, we'll put them all together, and that will help. And then you can rank them that way. Hopefully they will, because as I explained to people on our site, because sometimes people forget, they're all connected, guys. They're players on the team. They're part of that 85. Doesn't matter how it looks or how many years they have. They're a part of this team. So they're a part of the process, and I think people need to get used to understanding that it's a combination of high school and portal. It's not just one separate from the other.
That's how Florida State does it too. I mean, for the signing day press conference, they put transfers and early enrollees and regular summer enrollees all together on one list, one master list. And Florida State has been very, very aggressive. For more details on this recruitment, the 2025 kids, the wrap from junior day, all that kind of stuff, head over to warchant.com, the premium recruiting board right now. Michael Langston, Matt Lasser have you covered there. For Michael, I am Tom. We'll talk to you next time on Warchant TV. We'll see if Florida State gets some more good news in the next few days.